welcome back to my channel. So today I am doing a little bit of a different kind of video. Obviously I have my setup here, I've got my backdrop, I've got my podcast microphone that I'm using for my video today, which is why I'm talking into it for the intro to make sure you can hear me. And today I'm going to be talking everything Kennedy C Media. So it occurred to me that I never really talked about Kennedy C Media on this channel, and I also needed a video of Kennedy C Media that I could use for my Facebook page and everything like that. So today I'm kind of doing an interview style. I have someone here off camera that's going to be interviewing me. I'm going to answer every single question possible about Kennedy C Media, and I'm very excited about that. So, yeah. We can just jump right into it.
Start by telling me, what is Kennedy C Media?
Excuse the noise. We were doing a sound check before this, and it made a noise. Anyway, I'm sorry. So Kennedy C Media is my personal brand. It is, it consists of various media-based projects. So it consists of this YouTube channel that you may or may not be viewing this video on, which is Kennedy Castile. It consists of my blog, kennedycblog.com, and it also consists of my podcast, which is the Simply Kennedy podcast. So all of that together makes up Kennedy C Media as of right now, but in general, it's just a personal brand of various media-based projects, and in the future, there will be additional projects as well. So it's not just these three projects, but as of right now, that's what it consists of.
Why did you decide to start Kennedy C Media?
First of all, a lot of my background has to do with writing and, entertaining and stuff like that, performing, all of that. And then there's several reasons. I mean, I went to her conference. For those of you who don't know, I'm involved with her campus, and I kind of did that. And I was so inspired there. Pretty much everyone there was bloggers and YouTubers and everything like that. So that inspired me, and I kind of think that's when everything kicked off, shortly after that, even though technically it happened before that. But that really inspired me. And in general, I wanted to be able to have a voice and for it to be heard. So I've got these platforms where I can send a message if I want to do so, but I also can just entertain people. And for me, if I can use this platform for good, that's great. And if I can use it just to put a smile on someone's face because I said something funny or did something funny, then that is amazing for me also. And in general, I just really thought it would be a good idea. I had opinions to share and things I wanted to say, and I thought, what better way than by starting Kennedy C Media? And also, I just didn't really I had these three projects going already before I officially started calling them Kennedy C Media, and I thought it would be a good idea to put them under one thing, call them something where they all have their own unique messages and voices, but they're all my voice at the same time, and they're all my projects.
Tell me a little bit about your background before Kennedy C Media.
Yeah, so my background, like I said, was in writing, performing, entertaining, everything like that. So specifically with writing, when I was younger, I would do creative writing. There's somewhere an old hard drive somewhere with probably hundreds of short little creative writing stories that I would do. As I got older, the focus of my writing kind of shifted. So it went from kind of creative writing to more journalistic writing, and I wrote for several, I continue to write for some of these, but I've written for Woman to Woman magazine, Her Campus, Her Culture, which together those three were a coincidence, and those are the first magazines I ever wrote for. I wasn't just focused on women's topics or writing for women, it just happened to be a coincidence, but I also wrote for Venazine, also kind of focused on women, Her Culture, I'm sorry, I said that already, Loon magazine and Glue magazine as well. And then aside from writing, I think performing and entertaining is the background that kind of inspired Kennedy C Media, or just helps a lot with it. So dancing was like a big thing that I still continue to do, and performing back in high school and middle school and whatever, I would do like school shows and stuff. So I've always been about like the entertainment aspect as well.
Talk talk about the Kennedy C Media logo.
Yeah, so as you guys can see, this is not the full logo here, but you can see it on my mug, I guess. It's also on the pillow behind me. I'll show you. This is the logo, just this part here, and the Kennedy C Media. And my old logo is the one which you probably saw in my intro, which is just that purple background, and it's got the kiss lips thing. So I really liked that logo, but at a certain point, especially I think this happened in March when I officially created Kennedy C Media, I wanted to evolve that logo and create something a little more modern and something that wasn't just for my YouTube channel but that worked for all of my platforms. I wanted to keep the same basic color scheme because these are the colors I love. I love this purple. It's one of my earrings, on my scrunchie, everywhere. But I also thought the pink complemented it very well. Pink is not one of my favorite colors, actually, but it just goes well with the purple color. So that's what I decided to use. And then you see all these, just this fun lines and everything. I wanted to keep the kiss lips as well. So it's got the same basic structure as the original logo. It's just kind of updated. And I still use the original logo, mostly only here on YouTube. But it's a great logo. It's just not what I think, I needed to keep or needed to be the main logo. But yeah, both are still existing, and it's just a more updated, kind of more modern version of the original logo.
What was the biggest challenge you had to face when starting Kennedy C Media?
So there was, there's challenges, and I'm glad you asked this question, and I hope we're going to talk later about every individual project, and I hope you ask this about those projects as well. But a lot of people focus on, the positive aspects of YouTube, of a podcast, of a blog, and there are so many positive aspects, which I might get into later. But there's also, some challenges, and for me, I think the main challenge was financially. So there's a lot that goes into YouTube and podcasts and even the blog. So the blog, I have to pay a monthly fee to keep my, for my host site and to keep my, I can't remember what it's called right now, but to keep basically the name of my blog. For YouTube, there's a lot that goes into it. I can't just sit down and film if I don't have a camera or I don't have proper equipment. So cameras, microphones for the podcast. I have 3 of these, and these are not cheap. A backdrop, which I use sometimes for YouTube or whatever. There's just so much that goes into it. I have business cards that, I hand out when I'm at something like her conference or whatever. And all of that adds up. So I think financially that's the biggest struggle. And luckily now, as, I grow in the business more, I'm learning about stuff. Like I have a Patreon account now, and I have patrons that donate. And that's kind of the main way that I keep the channel running and keep all of Kennedy C Media running. And then I just enabled listener support on my podcast, which I think I'll talk a little bit more in depth about later, but all of that financially does add up. And then not to mention, if I want to review a product on my YouTube channel, or if I want to try a product to write about it on my blog, all of that adds up. So I think that's definitely the biggest challenge. But like I said, despite there being challenges, there's many rewards to what I do.
What is the most rewarding thing about Kennedy C Media?
I think the most rewarding thing is probably, there's so much. I really, like I said, I love just knowing if I put a smile on someone's face with a funny video or with some kind of sarcastic comment I made in my podcast, or, just an article that people really enjoyed on my blog. All of that is so rewarding. When I get nice comments on YouTube, when, somebody tells me, somebody I know personally, like, hey, that was a really cool video or a really, really cool article or something you did was great. Just the positive feedback and knowing, people appreciate what I do is really nice. And then I think just personally for me, not even others, but just for me to see the videos or to hear the podcast later or go back and reread one of my articles from my blog, it's great because I kind of, I see the results of my work, and it's really great.
Is there anything you want viewers to know about Kennedy C Media?
Oh gosh, let me think. I think what I want viewers to know, or, anyone who is just discovering Kennedy C Media, is first of all, if you're watching me on YouTube or if you're on the Facebook page or whatever, if you just listen to my podcast, if you just watch my YouTube videos, if you just read my blog posts, check out my other projects. Like I said, they're all very unique in their own ways, but at the same time, they all have one clear voice, which is my voice, and they all kind of connect, and there's a vast audience for my YouTube channel, but in general, for all three projects, the audience is the same, and it's, teenagers, it's women, it's people who, like pop culture and comic books and all that kind of stuff. So I guess it is a big audience that a big target audience that I'm kind of dealing with. But I think in general, I just want people to know I have other projects out there, which is kind of why I created Kennedy C Media. I recommend you check those out, not just because I created them, but if you like what you're seeing on one of these platforms, chances are you might like what you're seeing on all of them. I also want to mention again that Kennedy C Media is not just my current 3 projects. There are more projects coming in the future, and, you're going to see more from me. And also just continue to grow with me. I know I'm really small right now on all 3 platforms, but grow with me, and I promise you won't be disappointed.
Are there any future projects we can expect from Kennedy C Media?
So definitely, like I just kind of touched on that, there's going to be upcoming projects. There's going to be things I can't really talk about right now, but there's lots of plans. I did kind of tease previously another YouTube channel. This YouTube channel is not going to be a carbon copy of the current channel. It's going to have a very different concept, very different. Like I said, all my projects have my voice and they're all me, but this is going to be a completely, totally different concept. I think the only thing that's going to be the same about it is me, I guess. So definitely that's coming up. You never know what comes up down the line. Like I said, primarily my background is in writing, so maybe a book, maybe some comic books. I'm not sure. There's lots that could be coming down the line, so you're going to have to stay tuned for all of that.
Let's talk about Kennedy C Blog next. This was your first project for Kennedy C Media. Why start with a blog?
Like I said, again, my background is in writing, and it felt right to start with a blog. At the time, I kind of didn't even know anything about podcasts, if I'm being honest, so that wasn't even like an option to start with. YouTube was exciting. It's something I've always wanted to do, and I think it just continues. It's been growing throughout the years, but I felt like I wasn't ready. It's something where you have to be present and ready to do, and I wasn't ready for that. So then the blog was just like, hey, all I need is my computer. I did need money every month to keep it up, but I need my computer, I need myself, and all I have to do is write, and it just went with my background, and I thought it was the perfect project to start with. And at this time, I kind of was planning a YouTube channel. I didn't know I would do a podcast at all. I didn't know Kennedy C Media would even be a thing. So I think it wasn't like a plan. Like, I'm starting with the blog, and then this, and then this, and then it'll be Kennedy C Media. That wasn't a thing. It was more so, this is what I'd like to do. But it wasn't like, I'm starting with this because of this. It's just how it happened.
Your blog was majorly revamped a few months ago. What changed and why?
Okay, really awesome question. So originally my blog had a completely different concept. So my blog was supposed to be a college advice kind of blog. As a college student, that's what I originally thought. I thought it'd be interesting. I thought that would draw people in. But the truth is, I wasn't passionate about that topic. And my college experience is so different from other people's. And I think everybody has unique college experiences. And there's only so much you can write about unless you're writing specifically for your own campus or for people in your own situation. Not everything is relatable, and after a while, when you're not passionate about something, it's just not, it's not going to work out, So anyway, in March, when I decided to create Kennedy C Media, I wanted to make sure every single one of my projects was the best it could be. And I was like, my blog is not what I want it to be. So I shifted the focus, and like I said, a lot of my writing has been about not necessarily women's topics, but the target audience has been women. So I decided to make my blog about girl power, and that's what I write about. I have a segment called Woman of the Week every week. I try to do it every week, and other stuff that appeals to women. I write a lot about female superheroes and stuff because I love comic books, and I think if you go into my blog and you read about this, you'll find out more about it. But comic books to me, as a woman who enjoys comic books, I kind of felt always like an outsider. The people in the comic book community are very welcoming, but it's other people who are like, a woman can't read a comic book, or, people even complaining about Captain Marvel being the first superhero. So I wanted to create something where both a very girly woman who loves makeup and loves beauty and fashion could go in there, or a very a woman who loves comic books and who loves superheroes and all that, or someone like me who loves both could go in there and feel empowered. And so I think now that I'm passionate about what I'm writing about, it's made the blog so much easier.
Do you have a favorite article on your blog?
Oh, wow. I have a lot of favorite articles. I think everything I write is, something I love. But I have this one specific article called Marvel it's heroes, but I kind of emphasize the H-E-R, like her. And it's about female superheroes. And like I said, superheroes are for everyone. And I'm so glad that now with the MCU and everything, superheroes are becoming more popular, and even women are going now to see these movies and stuff. But I also want them to know that you don't just have to watch the movies. Go ahead and read the comics. So anyway, I kind of made this article about the Marvel superheroes that are female, or at least some of them from the comic books, including some that might not be known because they're not in the MCU. And I just thought maybe it would spark interest for women who have never picked up a comic book. And for those who have, I thought, they might enjoy the article either way. And that was a really fun article to write, and I really do like that one.
You don't update your blog as much as other projects. Why?
I'm not going to give specific details about this at the moment, but what I'll say is if you ever see me not updating something, whether it's my podcast, which that happened at one point as well, I think I'm pretty consistent on YouTube just because it's very easy for me, and I'll get into that later. But if you ever don't see me updating something, it's most likely because there's some kind of revamp coming, which I'm not changing anything else. I know I just revamped the blog, but there might be, changes or updates. So just bear with me on that, and I promise we'll be back. Don't worry.
Is there anything interesting or exciting we can expect from your blog in the future?
That relates to the last question, if I'm being honest. I don't really want to say much else about that, but let's just say that relates to the last question. And so, yeah, I guess there is some exciting things you can expect in the future. I'm just not going to tell you them right now.
What is the biggest challenge you face in regards to your blog?
So with the blog specifically, it's challenging to captivate an audience. It's no secret that this generation, reading is not a top priority. And even though my blog posts are no more than a page or something, it's hard to get people to go in there and read them. With YouTube, you have this visual aspect. You have me sitting here, and I have a personality that you can clearly see because I'm a person. It's not just words. I am being energetic and dynamic, and there's, visuals and sound. Even with the podcast, you're hearing my voice. You get a sense of my personality. I can project this energy onto an audience. But when it comes to my blog, as much energy as I have while writing it, or as passionate as I am about the topic, if you're not passionate about the topic, I can't really convince you of that because they're just words. I can put exciting images as well, but truthfully, you're not seeing me like you would see me here, or you're hearing me with my podcast. So it's very difficult to captivate an audience. I try to make everything as colorful as possible, and I try to make funny little jokes in my blog and whatnot. But the truth is, if you're not interested in reading or you're not interested in what I'm writing about, there's really no way to captivate an audience. So that's definitely a big challenge, but I'm kind of finding ways to go around that and try to work in my personality and captivate an audience at the same time.
What is your favorite thing about blogging?
I love so much about blogging. I think definitely my favorite thing is just being able to practice my writing skills, almost create a portfolio as a writer, as somebody who's studying mass communication / journalism. It's very important to me to practice my writing skills, so I love that about blogging. And then I just love, I love everything dealing with the internet, YouTube, podcasts, everything like that. So with blogging, it's very cool to design my own, kind of like website. With YouTube and the podcast, there's only so much you can do. You can put a profile picture or channel art or, a podcast cover, but that's as personal as it gets. You can do your thumbnails or whatever. But with your own site, everything is yours and everything is very much how you like it and the colors you want and everything you enjoy.
Now I want to talk about your podcast for a little bit. Why is the podcast called Simply Kennedy?
So actually, there is a little known fact, which is that technically, now even though the web address for my blog is kennedycblog.com, the blog is actually called Simply Kennedy, and I think you might see that in some places on there. But it's not a very well-known fact, and whenever I'm telling someone about it, I'm not just going to tell them the name of the blog because it'll make it hard to find. So I always say it's kennedycblog.com. But I really liked Simply Kennedy. It's something that kind of came to me. I wasn't even trying to think of a name for anything. I was just thinking like, maybe like a YouTube video title or something I could use down the line. And then I named the podcast that, and then that just really didn't stick, even though it's like the official name. It's not known by that. So I decided, when I was going to do the podcast, I was thinking, do I make it something related to pop culture since that's what I'm talking about and whatnot. And then I realized, you know what? It's me, though. I'm giving my opinions about pop culture and I'm throwing in my personality and whatnot. So let's use the name. Let's use Simply Kennedy. That's what it'll be known as and that's what its name will be. And so that's kind of how the name came about.
You talk about pop culture on your podcast. Why pop culture and not another topic? What's the process of recording a podcast episode like?
Okay, wow, 2 questions. So let's stick with one at a time. I do talk about pop culture on my podcast, and pop culture and not another topic. Pop culture is something I know about, something I enjoy, something I like to talk about. I didn't want to make this podcast for a specific target audience. I didn't want it to be just for women, kind of like my blog is pretty much for women, or just for young adults, like my YouTube channel. I mean, anyone can watch my YouTube channel, but I think it's more appealing to young adults. I wanted to make something that globally, or, I actually get, like demographics of who watches my podcast, and there's people all over the world, in Spain, in the UK, in Canada, etc., watching this. And even though maybe celebrities are different throughout the world, we're all watching, generally the same movies, the same music, the same this or that. I know it varies from country to country, but pop culture is appealing to everyone. Now, I guess the older you get, maybe you're a little less interested in pop culture, but I wanted to focus on something people would enjoy. And then also, there's so many podcasts out there about a certain niche or about politics or stuff that, we're tired of hearing about. So I wanted to make it fun and still informative and give my opinions and just do something that would interest people.
Will you ever have guests on your podcast?
So another good question. Oh, actually, I didn't answer your last question. You asked me something before that, and remember it was 2 together. Can you go back to that one real quick, if you don't mind?
What's the process of recording a podcast episode like?
Honestly, it's very much like this. The only difference is instead of being in like a fancy setup with a backdrop, I'm kind of sitting here with my microphone, my laptop and everything, and I'm just recording and talking. Usually I'll have some notes about what I'll be talking about. So I don't like to script my episodes. There's never a script. It's just topics I want to talk about. That way I don't get stumped in the middle and forget what I was going to talk about. I know what I'm going to talk about. But other than that, it's kind of just like a title, talk about I don't know, The Lion King, talk about The Little Mermaid casting, talk about whatever. And from there, I just talk and talk and talk, and it's pretty much like this. Like I said, I'm usually where I usually film my YouTube videos, just sitting on the couch there, but I have my microphone, and I'm just talking into it. Of course, there's no interview, but very much this is what an episode of the podcast is like.
Will you ever have guests on your podcast?
Very good question, like I said. Yes, so I mean, clearly, I have 3 microphones, and I can use 2 at a time. So as you guys can't see the interviewer off camera, but she's got a microphone, and I am set up to have guests now. Previously, like I said, equipment is a little bit of an issue, but I have the equipment now, so it is a possibility, and I think very, very soon there will be a guest on my podcast and maybe more in the future.
Do you have a favorite episode of your podcast so far?
I think every week, kind of the newest episode becomes my favorite because I'm talking about things I'm passionate about and things I enjoy, and it's easy for the newest one to become my favorite. So this is gonna sound like a little, it's just because it's the newest one, but truly my favorite at this point is the last episode I did. I talked about all the new Phase 4 announcements for the Marvel for MCU. That they announced at San Diego Comic-Con. I had fun talking about that. I usually focus on various topics throughout the podcast, but I focus specifically on that. And it was fun to, talk about what they announced and make predictions, and all of that was really great. So definitely at this point in time, that one's been my favorite, but I'm planning, some fun stuff for the next few episodes.
What platforms is your podcast currently on?
So, Simply Kennedy is available on a ton of platforms, but to name a few, Anchor.fm, which is my podcast host site, actually, it's there. You can find it there, as well as all the links to the other platforms are there as well. But let me just name a few others. So Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and we just got on iHeartRadio, which is it's actually a really funny story. So yeah, they actually didn't even tell me that they put my podcast on there, but never mind. Maybe I'll tell that story later. But yeah, so iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Anchor.fm, any of those you go to, just search up Simply Kennedy in the search bar, and you should find it.
Tell us a little about listener support for your podcast and how that works.
Yeah, so definitely. I mentioned earlier that listener support is something that I have just recently learned about. So Anchor.fm, which is my podcast host site, has the ability for me to enable listener support, which I have just recently enabled. So my listeners, very much like Patreon, although my Patreon is for all of Kennedy C Media, listener support is specifically for my podcast. Anybody who listens, if you're interested, you can donate as little as 99 cents a month to the podcast. That really helps me out, like I said, with equipment and anything else I might need. If I bring guests on, if I can pay them a little something, that'd be great. I mean, maybe not, but so yeah, you can go to my Anchor.fm, or you can go to the Kennedy C Media Facebook page if you're not already watching this there, and all the information will be there as to how you can enable, or how you can donate to the podcast using listener support, and I'd really appreciate your support as well.
What is the biggest challenge you face in regards to your podcast?
Oh gosh. Like I said, okay, now I can tell this story I was going to tell earlier actually. So, communication with my the various platforms where my podcast is available is kind of a big challenge. Now, I know that's maybe not what you guys are expecting, but if I'm being honest, now that I have equipment, which obviously I talked about financially, how I have challenges as well once in a while with Kennedy C Media, but as far as the podcast goes, now that I have the proper equipment, it's very easy to record and everything like that, but communicating with the platforms is very difficult. So, like I said, iHeartRadio, as far as I know, my podcast has been on there about a week, and they literally didn't even email me or let me know in any kind of way that they put my podcast on there. I actually, somebody I know sent me a text message with a screenshot of my podcast, like, hey, listening to your podcast right now. And I'm like, what platform is that? I was very confused. And they're like, iHeartRadio. And I'm like, what? And so I go to iHeartRadio and I'm like, that's my podcast. And I had searched it up and everything, and I'm like, my podcast is on iHeartRadio. I was very excited, but also very, very confused. So like I said, communicating with the platforms, or even with my listeners, because it's not like there's comments like on YouTube or even on my blog. So communicating in general with my listeners and with the platforms that my podcast is on is definitely a challenge. But I do like that I have a lot of like on Anchor.fm, which is, again, my host, they show me, like, I get to find out a lot about my listeners, where they're from, and where they listen to me on, and all that kind of stuff. So that is a really cool feature that I like, and it kind of helps me to not necessarily communicate directly with them, because that's not really a thing I can do, but to personalize the podcast a little more for my specific listeners.
What is the most rewarding thing about your podcast?
Oh gosh, I think getting to talk about things that I'm passionate about and reaching an audience in a different way. So it's not the same as YouTube or as my blog, and each platform that I use, whether it's YouTube or my blog, those all have very different ways of reaching audiences. And I think it's very interesting to be able to communicate with an audience just through my voice. Maybe some of my listeners have never even seen me. I think with my blog, I have pictures of me on there, and here on YouTube, you see me, of course. But I think with my podcast, people have never even seen me. So it's very interesting to communicate with an audience who has made no assumptions about me. Obviously, once they listen to me, they can make all the assumptions they want. But it's very unique to be able to communicate with an audience who doesn't have any preconceived notions about me and hasn't really seen me. Actually, that's incorrect. There is a picture of me on my podcast cover, but in general, it's really small. But I think just communicating with an audience in such a different way is so rewarding, knowing, hey, you don't have to be seen to reach an audience. And then, like I said, I found out that I have people listening to my podcast in the UK, in Australia, in Spain, in so many places. So I think that's so rewarding, knowing I'm reaching people, and people are coming back each week and listening to me, which is absolutely insane. When I started this, I really thought it was going to be people just here. You guys know I'm in Texas, so that's no secret. Here in Texas listening to me, or people in the US, or even just Mexico, because, I'm Latina and whatever. But reaching audiences in different countries, so far away, countries I've never been to, countries, just that I never expected people would listen to me in, is insane and so, so rewarding.
Since this video is going up on YouTube, I'd like to end this video by asking you some questions about your YouTube channel.
Sounds good.
Last month, you celebrated 1 year on YouTube. What was that like?
Okay, real quick, guys. I'm so sorry. You saw me put the paper by. I have the questions here so that I can see them. And actually, I moved it too soon anyway. But like I said, it's not scripted, just like my podcast, not scripted. I'm just looking at the questions. So yeah, anyway, yes, I did celebrate my 1 year on YouTube, which was absolutely insane. And the celebration was more for myself than anybody else, because I know, I have very few subscribers, 50 or something, probably less. But for me, it was such a milestone. YouTube is something I wanted to do for a very long time. Like I said, I wanted to do YouTube before I even wanted to blog, but I started with the blog. And it was so exciting to me, like, wow, I did it. I've been on YouTube for a year. I'm almost at 100 videos, you guys, so that was definitely insane. So I celebrated with a new video every day in June, and it's also really insane that my 1 year YouTube anniversary was on my 20th birthday, and that's so exciting that every year it'll fall on my birthday. One, it's easy to remember, and two, it's just so, it's like a gift to me, like, wow, another year on YouTube. That's insane. And yeah, and so then the actual week of, so from, I believe it was like a Friday to a Friday, or Friday to a Saturday, or Saturday to Saturday, something like that, I did, It's My Party week on my channel, and I did like a new video every day, but these were kind of more like celebration themed, and the very first video I did was a vlog where I went to the J-Lo concert and her It's My Party tour, which is, I kind of stole the name from her for the celebration week, but that was incredible, and it was so much fun. And yeah, I just had so much fun celebrating my 1 year on YouTube.
Do you have a favorite YouTube video?
Ooh, of mine?
Yes.
Yeah, so, I have lots of favorite YouTube videos that are not mine because I love watching YouTube. But of mine, it's very, very hard to pick a favorite video. So the answer to the question is yes and no. So yes, because I have videos I love, like the New York vlog. Anything on Marcela Zen is always hilarious. The very first Recess Weekly Minute where we tried Japanese candy is great. The J-Lo vlog. The New York vlogs. Did I say that already? I'm not sure. But yeah, I love all of those videos. Those are some of my favorites. But no, I don't have like an ultimate favorite video because I love all my videos, and everything I upload is because I love it. Because honestly, there has been videos that I really don't like. I record them, I film them, and then I'm like, I don't like this. It's not good enough. I'm not uploading it, and I've never uploaded them. Maybe like 5 to 10 videos like that I'm like, no, I can't upload something I don't like, because if I don't like it, why would my audience like it?
What is the process of filming one of your YouTube videos like?
Ooh, so that varies a lot. But, okay, like, obviously a vlog is very different. A vlog, I'm usually doing something and I'm out there and I have a camera and I'm, filming and whatever. For a sit-down video, it's, similar to this. I usually don't have microphones. This is very different, and I don't usually have a backdrop. But I'm sitting in my usual filming location on the iconic couch that you guys always see. And if I'm doing like a product review or something, I'll have researched, the price and everything like that, and then I'll have the product with me. Or if I'm, depending on what I'm doing, I've prepared in some kind of way and I have whatever I need with me, and then I kind of just sit down and I film, and I try to not mess up because editing can be a pain in the butt sometimes. And then after that, usually the same day or the next day, once in a while, a few days later, I'll go and edit. Hopefully not too much editing is necessary. I will add in my intro, I'll add in my picture that you see at the end of all my videos, and I'll call it a day. I'll upload it, of course, and call it a day. Maybe upload a specific thumbnail if I don't like the one YouTube automatically puts. And it sounds simple the way I describe it, but really it's kind of a lot of work.
You've mentioned before that your favorite type of video to film is vlogs. Can you elaborate?
Oh, for sure. Yes, I have mentioned this, and it is my favorite type of video to film. I think vlogs are so fun. First of all, they're personal. I love watching vlogs. I love kind of seeing what other people do and a little glimpse into their lives. I think it connects the audience and the YouTuber a lot. And then also, for me personally, I can look back at these videos. I love watching, especially like my holiday vlogs. I did a Christmas one, a New Year's one, the J-Lo vlog, which is, like the week before my birthday vlog. All of those are so fun to go back and watch. And they're like memories to me, and it's just fun. I like to live in the moment, so at the same time, vlogs can be a little bit, there's a borderline where you can't just be vlogging and not enjoying what you're doing, but at the same time, it's so fun to vlog what you're doing because you'll get to look back on those moments and remember what you were doing at that day and time. And I just really love vlogging. It's unexpected. It's not as predictable as some of my other videos. You know, other videos, I sit down and know what I'm going to say or what I want to say. I film, and that's that. With vlogs, anything can happen, and they're just so fun to film and to look back on, and, you know, it's great.
Do you have any exciting or interesting videos planned for the future?
Ooh, I do have lots of exciting and interesting videos. If I'm being honest, I know I kind of tease stuff for the blog and the podcast. With YouTube, it's like I have ideas, but they're not fleshed out. So YouTube is very spontaneous for me once in a while. I'll kind of think of a video and just film it then and there. Even, like, sometimes I'll have an idea in my mind for a long time, but I won't, like, you know, actually film it until, you know, later on. So, nothing specific. I do know I'm going to a concert in the fall. I won't say what concert, but if you guys can guess, give it a comment down below. And I'll be vlogging that, hopefully. So other than that, I do have ideas, but they're not fleshed out yet. So exciting things, yes. Specific plans, no.
Tell us about Risa's Weekly Minute and how that series came to be.
All right, so first of all, for those of you who don't know, the voice you're hearing behind the camera is Risa. So thanks, Risa, for being here, and thanks for helping me out with this little interview.
Yeah, of course.
Anyway, Risa's Weekly Minute. First of all, Risa always wanted a YouTube channel, and I don't think she'll ever get one, or maybe she will. I don't know. But it's something she wanted to do for a while, and maybe she no longer wants to. I don't know. You can maybe elaborate on that for a second.
I mean, I would love to make a YouTube channel, but I feel like I'm already so just, you know, everything is just so time consuming with, I know you all know I do dance and everything in school, but maybe when I'm around Kennedy's age, I could follow in her footsteps or something. I really look up to you.
So yeah, but anyway, that is why I decided to create Risa's Weekly Minute, because well, first of all, there's a video back in December where Risa takes over my channel. That video was actually not planned. It wasn't like, oh, Risa wants to take over my channel, or oh, we're going to do this. I was very sick with the flu, but I was uploading a new video every day in December and had run out of pre-filmed videos, and I really, really didn't want to miss a day. So I told Risa, hey, would you be interested in doing this? Well, it wasn't that exciting. It was actually more like I was dying. Hey, could you be interested in doing this? Anyway, and so she was like, yeah, sure. She did a pretty good job. It was her first time ever trying. She even edited it herself. So I said, you know what? I thought about it for months and months, and I thought, she can have her own little segment on my channel. I'll be with her. It'll still be me, and it's my channel. But I think it would be fun to see a fresh face every week, and to see videos a little different from mine, and for her to come up with an idea and to be able to, like, film them and all of that. So I said, let's give it a try. We filmed our first video, trying Japanese candy, and I thought, this is pretty good. We could do this. Short videos. You know, also it's something a little different for my channel. I usually do super long videos like this one that might be like an hour or so. So I thought, okay, let's do it. Let's do a short video every week. Something that younger people, Risa's age, or even people my age or older would enjoy. Something different from what we usually do, and a fresh face every week. And that's kind of how that came to be.
Tell us a little bit about Beauty on a Budget.
Beauty on a Budget. So other than Risa's Weekly Minute, that is my only other reoccurring series, even though I've missed a few episodes. I haven't missed any episodes. I took a hiatus, a planned 2-week hiatus, for I was going to be out of town and whatnot, and then last week I really wasn't feeling up to filming, and I always want to give 100%, so I said not this week either. But now I'm back. I will have a new episode on Wednesday. But anyway, Beauty on a Budget is a show or series or whatever you want to call it that I do every week. And I've done, you know, I talked about jewelry. I've talked about makeup. I've talked about sunglasses, and I've talked about online shopping in general. In the future, I'll be talking about clothes, shoes, in-store shopping, and basically this series is to help people my age, or people who just want to save money. You know, everybody wants to save money, so the point of the series is really for me to help people out in any way I can, and to show you can be fashionable on a budget. My earrings today, these are from Forever 21, and they look amazing, and they match my outfit, and they give a little life to it. My scrunchie, this was like a set from Amazon, and it was super cheap, and I wear these on my wrist all the time that match my outfit. So basically the series is about saving money and still being fashionable at the same time.
What is the biggest challenge you face in regards to your YouTube channel?
Yeah, I think two things, really. I think the first is just figuring out which videos are going to be hit and which are going to be a miss, because YouTube videos are very hit and miss. There have been videos that I thought were going to be a big hit, and they just weren't. Then there has been videos that not necessarily, I never think my videos are going to be a miss, because of course I do everything, I give 100% and I want them to be the best quality. But there have been videos that I just don't expect them to be a big hit. For example, my Hunger Games 10th anniversary box set review or something like that. That's maybe not the specific title. That video has 500 views, and no, I think 600 views and counting now, if I'm not mistaken. And every week that video gets more and more views. I never would have expected that. I love the Hunger Games, and to me it's like so incredibly exciting that the video about something I love so much. In high school, people would do the 3-finger salute and the Mockingjay whistle to me all the time. I wore a Mockingjay pin every day. Every time the new movies came out, I was so excited. But to me, and I hate to say this because I love the Hunger Games, and for me it'll always be relevant, but I thought it was something that was becoming irrelevant. And I thought, I'm going to do this because it's something I like and maybe people will be interested in it. But the video kind of blew up, and it was insane to me that a video that I never think my videos are going to be a miss, but I didn't think it was going to be a big hit either. It has become my biggest video, and it's still just climbing to the top. It's insane to me. And then also, I started out kind of wanting to be like a beauty channel or whatever, which never really happened. But all my comic book videos, like comic unboxings, Comic-Con vlogs, those have become mega hits. And I was like, wow, I'm surprised that, again, because we have these negative stereotypes that women can't be into comic books and whatever, the girl with the pink and purple logo and the kissed lips thing, that people are watching her comic book videos was insane to me. So definitely knowing which videos are going to be hit or miss is a big challenge for me, which it's also a reward because it's a nice surprise when they are a big hit. And then the other challenge is keeping up with content. My podcast, not gonna lie, I can film it in pajamas. I can film it, without makeup or however. My blog, I can go and write, and I can write at 2 a.m. or whatever. With YouTube, I have to make sure I have good lighting, so usually I have to film during the day. I have to make sure I don't have these microphones like with my podcast, so I kind of have to be louder than, you might think. I have to look presentable, hair brushed and makeup and everything. Sometimes I don't always wear makeup for my videos, but generally I do. So I think just keeping up with content, because it's not like where you can, just film whenever or do whatever, So keeping up with content, and then, like I said, knowing which videos are going to be a hit or a miss is definitely a big challenge for me.
What's the most rewarding thing about your YouTube channel?
Okay, so I think we'll end on this question. And for me, the most rewarding thing is, I guess, like with everything, just the positive feedback. And I think my channel has grown so much over the years, and getting to do this, make a YouTube channel and do something I've wanted to do, and it's so exciting to me when I get a positive comment. And sometimes there's negative comments, but whatever, it happens. But when I get a positive comment, or when someone shares my video on social media, or when someone goes and gives my video a like, a thumbs up, or comments on my video, I said that already, but I've gotten so many positive comments, and new subscribers, and seeing videos with over 100 views. That's the most rewarding thing to me, because I know I did my job and I made people happy, and that's all I can really ask for with YouTube, is just making people happy, and it's the best thing in the world to me. So, like I said, we ended with that question. First of all, thank you again, Risa, for being here and for helping me out with this.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, thanks. And that's everything about Kennedy C Media. Those are, I answered, I think, mostly everything about it. But if there's anything else you guys want to know, please leave a comment. If you're seeing this on the Kennedy C Media Facebook page, leave the comment there. And if you're seeing this on YouTube, leave the comment in the YouTube comments, and I will try my best to respond to every single question that you have about Kennedy C Media. I have merch coming out soon, like you saw my pillows back here. These are just stuff for me, but if you like this stuff, maybe I'll add this to the merch I have planned. Mugs as well, and shirts. Yeah, again, I'm just gonna, to end this, mention every single place you can find me and Kennedy C Media. So you can follow us on the Kennedy C Media Facebook page, KENNEDYCMEDIA, if I know how to spell, on Facebook, at Kennedy C _blog on Instagram. Don't use that much, but you can check us out there. I'm on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Anchor.fm, and iHeartRadio. You can search up Simply Kennedy, and that's my podcast. On YouTube, you can find me as Kennedy Castillo, KENNEDYCASTILLO. And last but not least, you can check out you can check out my blog, kennedycblog.com, officially called Simply Kennedy. And last but not least, my Patreon account is patreon.com/KennedyCmedia, and if you want to help us out financially, you can check us out there. Also, if you're on YouTube, I have links to most of these things on my channel. If you look at my channel banner or whatever it's called, there are links to a few of these things on there. So my blog for sure, my Patreon for sure, and I believe Spotify and the Facebook page and Instagram. So make sure you check all of that out. I had a great time kind of talking to you guys about Kennedy C Media today. Thank you so much for watching. For those of you on YouTube, make sure you comment down below, leave some nice comments or questions or anything you have. Give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and hit the notification bell so you'll be notified every time I post a video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.